It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Jamie is a leading Tampa Bay real estate agent and featured on the Wall Street Journal's list of top 100 real estate agents in the nation. Jamie invites you to list your home with him today and learn more at tampabayradio.com. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Maloney.
And welcome to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. And also welcome back to the people that were listening in the 7 o'clock hours. We're on from 7 to 9, Monday through Friday, here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. And, of course, the video stream available over at tampabayradio.com, where you can see all the little nuances that Josh throws up there throughout the show, including our celebrity lookalikes, of which Josh is fast to work for our next guest, who is Nico Hohman, a real estate professional with Next Home Discovery, and about to open up his own brokerage as well, where he will specialize in, and is specializing in now, I should say, new home construction. So, Nico, welcome to the program today.
Good morning, everyone.
So tell us a little bit about your real estate background. And like I said, you specialize in new home builds. Tell us a little bit about yourself, though.
Sure. So my background is construction. I went to the University of Florida, studied construction management, and that's kind of where I got my background and experience in. Ever since I was a little kid, loved playing with Legos, loved building things, and just kind of took that on to college. And then from college, I went to go work for home builders and general contractors, got to see the construction side of home building and the real estate transaction. And then from there, I realized, hey, there's a whole nother aspect to home building, and that's the real estate component of it. That's why I decided to get my real estate license and focus on a project that involved both construction and real estate, and really be that guide for someone that's looking to do both a real estate project and a construction project in one. And that's kind of where my niche is right now.
Now, are you working with any specific developers as like their primary sales agent for the development? Do you just cater to different buyers that are looking to come into new homes?
I cater specifically to home buyers that are looking to buy new construction homes. A lot of times builders and their contracts are geared towards the builders or the developers themselves. Mm-hmm. And most buyers don't know that. They just think that the buyer or the builder's on their side. Well, a lot of times they need a real estate professional to help them through the real estate transaction to say, hey, you know what, this item in the contract, that's more towards the builder side, or that leans more towards the builder, and just so you're aware of that. So a lot of times I like to walk with buyers through the different lots to see the construction process, but also to see the real estate process and how that goes too.
So why this niche? Why the new homes versus the existing homes? I mean, what should somebody be aware of when buying a new home versus, a resale or retail property from, a homeowner?
Sure. So with an existing home, a lot of times the property is older. And with new construction, obviously you have a brand new up-to-date project that's up to building codes, that has new environmental standards, that's just better overall for operating efficiency within your home. But there's a lot that goes into the actual building process. So when you're buying a new construction home, you get to see what's behind your walls, what's behind the drywall, what goes into plumbing work and electrical work. And a lot of buyers don't really know or don't really understand the entire process, that if you change one little thing here in the living room, it might have an effect in the second story bedroom. And that's something that I kind of walk through the buyers with and say, okay, the builder's going to help you pick out some flooring options, going to help you understand the floor plans, but here's how the repercussions could be later on in the building process or later on in the contract process. So a lot of times with existing homes, you don't have to deal with that headache of what's going on with the home, how is this going to look when it's all done. But with new construction, that's definitely something you got to keep an eye out for.
Now, you're about to open up your own brokerage. Tell me about the vision for this new brokerage.
Sure. So in a couple weeks, I'll be sitting for my broker's exam, so I'm pretty excited about that. But the idea is to focus on those buyers that are going to be looking to do new construction properties or properties and projects that need a lot of renovation. Most real estate agents, and I know, Jamie, you're an expert in listing properties, but there's not a lot of real estate professionals that help and cater specifically to buyers. And that's really what I want to focus on, is be a guide and be a help for buyers. And buyers need the most help when they're buying new construction properties.
Yeah, and a lot of times buyers will just walk into a development and sit down with the sales agent who's obviously on the side of the builder, and they'll sign a contract there. They don't see the need for a real estate agent. But you were elaborating on this a moment ago, why somebody should bring a realtor with them to the sales desk.
Exactly. Well, first and foremost, I should say that it's free to work with a real estate agent
Sure.
when you're a buyer. So that is, if you're worried about costs, that eliminates that equation immediately. But working with a realtor when you're working with a builder, you're buying a new construction home, just as that extra help to say, okay, if the standard real estate contract is 12 pages, well, a builder contract is probably going to be about 30 to 50 pages. So there's a whole lot more nuance and expertise that's required going through the contract, going through the building process, the warranty process, the walkthrough inspections that you don't necessarily have, and that having a free guide to help you through that process definitely is going to be helpful.
Now, where are the new homes at? I know northern Hillsborough and into southern Pasco, Trinity area, very hot with new homes. Southeast Hillsborough County was, a hotbed for new homes. Still, somewhat, but, obviously Tampa, St. Pete, that's all built up. I mean, where's your specialty market at? Where are you helping buyers at specifically?
Sure. So that's a big trouble that builders are coming into these days, that the hardest thing for them to find is land. And land that they can find at a reasonable price. Obviously, Pinellas County is pretty much all built up. You're not going to find a whole lot of new construction projects. So a lot of the new construction projects you see are more out in the suburbs and further away from the downtown Tampa area. So that's why northern Hillsborough County, Pasco County, Wesley Chapel is a great market for new construction properties. Riverview and South Hillsborough County, that's another great market. But even beyond that, you're starting to see in Zephyr Hills, north or beyond Wesley Chapel, and then Waimama, even beyond Riverview, is starting to build up there. So really, the challenge is finding a good piece of land for the builders. And where you find open land, that's a lot of times where you're going to find good properties. Now,
inventory in general is low, but a lot of home builders don't put their properties in the multiple listing service. They'll put maybe one in there, but they'll have multiple, land available or multiple homes available under that build. So working with a new home specialist such as yourselves, you're going to know of available inventory that may not be out there on the multiple listing service, correct?
Exactly. And that's something that a lot of times when a home buyer goes into one particular builder's office, that builder is only going to show them their homes that they have. Whereas if you're working with someone like myself, you get to see all the different builders and all the different developers in that area, or even in multiple areas that are looking to build properties. And that's the benefit of working with me. So I go and talk to the builders ahead of time. I see what's going to be coming on the market. What do they have in their inventory that they're not posting publicly yet? And that's where I can help the buyers out.
It's definitely a niche, yeah, because I don't know anything about the new homes. I don't know what the different developers are doing. I list properties for banks. And so you're right. I mean, when I got into real estate and trying to find my way in real estate, I used to visit the new homes and talk to the builders, but I wasn't drawn to that area of the business. But you're right. I mean, it's definitely a niche in the business, something that the average realtor doesn't know. I mean, any realtor can take somebody buy a new home developer, but they really don't know the nuances of the industry. And by putting yourself out there as a new home specialist, I mean, you're definitely adding value to the buyer's experience.
Correct. And that's where my background comes into play too. Having that construction management degree, working for home builders, working for general contractors, being a superintendent, being a project manager, I know what's going on the ground. When the builder says, hey, we're going to have a delay here, I can help the buyer understand, hey, this is something that was unforeseen. There was no way we could plan for this. Or I could say, hey, the project's still going to be about 4 or 5 months out, or this might be an added cost. If you want to change this, a lot of times there's costs associated with that. And I can also say, not only what's going on in the construction process, but there's going to be costs associated with that.
And a good tip that a home inspector gave me years ago is, you can hire a home inspector when the home's done, but when a home is being built, it's really good to get that home inspector with you from day one too, because there's a couple key areas or at certain times of the building process that they get in there and they do the home inspection throughout the building process. If you wait till the home's done, they can't see inside the walls, they can't see the electrical, and so that's very critical that you get a home inspector with you on day one. Would you not agree?
Oh, 100%. And that's what a lot of home inspectors would tell you, is that if you could take all the drywall off the walls and the ceilings, that would be their best time to take a look at a home, because that's really what you want to see with a home. What does the plumbing look like? What does the electrical look like? What does the AC look like? And when you're buying a new construction home, you can actually see what's behind your walls, and a home inspector can tell you what looks good, what doesn't look good. So you buying a new construction home, walking through it with a home inspector is one of the best things that you can do.
Now, you offer professional development classes for real estate professionals at HCC. Tell us a little bit about this.
Correct. So it's similar to your previous guests this morning at the 7 o'clock hour. I teach over at the ICCE at HCC, which offers multiple workforce development classes to anyone that's looking to do classes from Excel learning to project management to real estate. And I offer real estate professionals more professional development classes, so things like marketing, advertising, soft skills, networking, things like that they don't necessarily learn through the real estate exam, through their broker. things that would help them attain more clients, make more money, and just be a better business professional.
Yeah, you don't learn much coming out of the real estate course in Florida. You learn a bunch of law, but you don't learn how to be a realtor,
which
how to
is
network.
helpful, but at the same time, that's not going to help you land a client.
Yeah,
either.
it doesn't teach you how to fill out the contract and how to network and how to negotiate and all the other things. I mean, the state puts that burden on the brokerages, and the large brokerages do it well. They have intake classes for real estate professionals, but a lot of them go to the small brokerages and work with another broker to get a higher split a lot of times, and they don't get that training. They get the on-the-job training, and believe me, I deal with them all the time. So that's good that you're giving back and teaching the real estate agents out there.
Exactly. And my mom was a teacher, and so I've been around schools and been around teachers my whole life, and that's just something I've always had a passion for. I think if I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now, I would be a teacher full time. I just love being around students and being able to explain things to them, whether or not they're a complete beginner or an expert, something that, everybody can learn from. And just being a teacher, a lot of times you learn more being a teacher than you do being a student.
It's
and
true.
So sometimes the classes are as much for me as they are for my students.
Yeah, a lot of times somebody will ask a question. I was like, well, I never really thought of it like that. Different brains bring different perspectives to the talking points, and you never know what you're going to learn from your class. Even as an instructor, I'm giving a class, as a matter of fact, August 26th on HUD properties. I'm a bank-owned property specialist, as you know, and August 26th, people can realtors. It's geared towards realtors. So for realtors out there that are listening, if you go to the TBBO website, tbbo.org/events. Also, I got a link for that up on TampaBayRadio.com now as well. You can register for that. That's free of charge. Teach you how to sell HUD homes. So just like you, I got to give back to and teach the realtors how to do this stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. And one of the things that the Realtor Association does with GTAR, the Greater Tampa Association of Realtors, they have wonderful training programs, wonderful classes. I've got to give a shout out to my broker, Anand Patel. He's running for president, so any realtors listening, make sure you vote for him. But that's one of the very important things for real estate professionals is to get continued education. The real estate market and every market's always changing, to stay up to date with what's going on with the industry, to keep your skills up to date, to learn new things. It's always going to help you get more clients and keep your existing clients.
Nico Hohman in studio with me, real estate agent with Next Home Discovery. Learn more about him at hohmanhomes.com or give him a call, 813-638-4971. Again, 813-638-4971, specializing in the sale of new home construction. You're listening to That Business Show. Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.
How many times have you said to yourself, I wish there was an app for that? Stop wishing and start making the world better. Turn your brilliant idea into a profitable business by using Popcorn apps. Their affordable app design will help get your blue sky idea or proven business to the next level at a fraction of the cost of other developers. They will help you get through all the steps needed to make your thoughts become live. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
Teresa Turner is a certified public accountant and the founder of Tax Happens, a boutique-style CPA firm providing small businesses and individuals with hands-on, personalized tax and accounting services. Although we would love to tell you how happy their clients are, we would like you to see for yourself. Tax Happens has 21 Google reviews and a 4.8-star Google rating, 17 Yelp reviews and a 5-star Yelp rating, 38 Facebook reviews and a 4.9-star Facebook rating. What sets Tax Happens apart is number 1, upfront pricing, 2, clear deadlines, 3, personally available year-round, and number 4, a willingness to empower clients to do as much or as little as they desire. Visit taxhappens.com for more information.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
If you've been following That Business Show on Facebook and Twitter, you may have noticed the quality of some of our images. That's because one of our sponsors is pro photographer Rick Taseda, a member of the Professional Photographers of America. You can view his extensive work by going to his website at ricktaseda.com or call him for an appointment to chat about your photography needs at 813-641-4757. That's 813-641-4757. Rick Taseda Visuals. Call him for your next event or project.
Savvy business owners utilize technology to connect with customers, communicate among teams, and collaborate with partners. Even with advances in technology, you all know it's not infallible. Where do you turn when your technology starts working against you? Who do you depend on to keep your team productive? Don't wait until your technology fails you. Get ahead of the crisis and contact the professionals at Alpha Computing Solutions so they can show you how to keep your technology running smoothly. Visit them online at www.alphacomputing.com.
From the RP Funding Traffic Network.
Northbound 275 in St. Petersburg, slow from 22nd Avenue South to 22nd Avenue North. Right lane blocked there. Northbound 275 jammed on the Howard Franklin Bridge into Tampa. Southbound 275 jammed today from downtown to Dale Mabry. Right lane blocked there. Southbound 75 slow from Bruceby Downs to I-4. Northbound also slow approaching I-4. And the westbound side of the Summit Expressway slow from 75 over to 50th Street. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Uterick, Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Compassion International. Never thought of yourself as a hero? That's what you'll be for a child in poverty when you become a sponsor with Compassion International. To find out how you can release a child from poverty right now, go to compassion.com/radio.
Today, coastal showers in the morning, then a 50% chance of afternoon storms, high 90. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 78. Tomorrow, a 50-50 rain chance, high 89.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
Welcome back to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Talking to Nico Hohman, a real estate agent with Next Home Discovery, and soon to open his own brokerage here within the next couple weeks. Learn more about him, hohmanhomes.com, where he specializes in new home construction. So, Nico, talking about podcast in that last hour with the St. Pete College, but you're also a podcaster too. So tell us about this.
Yeah, I'd say a future podcaster. I have been listening to podcasts now probably 2-3 years, and I'm a big fan. I love them. I probably have close to 30 to 40 different podcasts on my phone right now that I like to listen to, and it really got me thinking, I can do this. I should be able to start a podcast. And listening to Chris over at TBBO got me motivated to start my own podcast. So sometime in the spring, I'll be releasing a podcast. It's going to be called Fundamentally Sound, and it's going to be about the world of obscure sports. So think of a show that crosses SportsCenter with 60 Minutes, just with more obscure sports. So things like disc golf, tower running, the redneck games, anything that you can think of that ESPN necessarily wouldn't cover. Those are the sports and those are the stories.
What about Frolf? I saw that on Seinfeld one time. Is that a real sport
that's
too?
Disc golf. Yeah, but it's frisbee golf. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, real
Frolf
sport.
is what they called it on the show. Okay.
I thought that was a character out of Lord of the Rings or something. So speaking of podcasts, guess who else has a podcast?
Who's that?
Tom Green.
Tom Green. Hey, yeah, I see that. Yeah, there's
Nice,
your celebrity. You ever get that?
I haven't got Tom Green before. Usually I get Tobey Maguire with a beard is usually my celebrity lookalike.
I can see Tobey Maguire too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can totally see Tom Green.
Tom Green, yeah, with that picture with the beard specifically. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So this podcast is going to be called Fundamentally Sound. It's going to talk about obscure sports. And so, but speaking along the lines of sports, you're also the head coach of the golf team over at Jesuit. Tell us a little bit about this.
That's correct. So I'm also alumnus of Jesuit High School, played golf there when I was a student, and this will be year number 4 for me for a head coach, and we're very excited. The season's starting up next week. We have been to the state championship the last 3 years, and we're looking forward to go back again this year. We have a really strong team, But I've been playing golf my entire life, since ever I was 2 years old. I saw a picture of me when I was looking back through old pictures, and I was 2 years old on the putting green putting, and I was pretty excited to see a picture like that, and I had pretty good form even as a 2-year-old. So it's one of those things we talked a little bit earlier, coaching and teaching, just have a passion for that. And golf, I love playing golf, so combine those two, and it was a pretty easy decision to do that.
Do you hang pretty well with how well Jesuit does in all of the other sports? There seem to be a powerhouse for football, especially. Are you guys in highly competitive like the other teams, or?
Correct. Yep. So golf, we have won the district championship 10 years in a row. Last year we were region champions as well. So usually every year we do compete pretty well. We're pretty good, but we haven't won a state championship yet. And that's my goal as a head coach, is to bring home a state championship in golf.
Have you ever had a player go pro? I mean, there's several NFL players that came out of Jesuit.
We've had a couple players play semi-professionally, and we have, actually the past 3 years, I've had players go on to play collegiate golf. Matter of fact, last year I just had a player
collegiate golf.
Yeah, that's a big deal. College to Division I golf. I have a couple players playing for SEC teams, and have a player right now that's on the semi-professional tour.
Wow. You're a head coach. How does the teams work? Because, I mean, golf to me is an individual sport. So how's the team structured? I mean, I'm having trouble understanding how an individual sport could be used as a team sport.
Sure, and that's a great question, something I get a lot. Well, what I'm trying to coach with my players is the mental aspects of the game, and that's something, especially with golf, especially
so like a mentor.
Exactly. With something along the lines of, I'm not necessarily teaching them how to swing a club. When they come play golf, they already know how to do that. But it's more, okay, you're down by 2 with 2 holes left to go. What are some mental things that you can do to prepare yourself for this upcoming shot? Do you want to take risks? Do you want to lean back? What do you do in that sort of situation? And those are some of the coaching styles that I teach.
But in tournaments, though, you just add up everybody's score, just like individual, and then the lowest team score, wins. Yeah. I mean, how's it working in tournament play?
I'm not allowed to give them any advice when they're actually on a particular hole. So I can't say that.
You can't?
Yep, exactly. So I can't say, hey, you should probably hit a 6-iron here, or you should hit a 7-iron here. So it's all on the players when they're out on the course. And between holes, I can say, keep your head up, or things like that. But when they're out on the course, it's all about themselves and their game. My job as a coach comes during practice and before the matches and before the tournaments.
Doesn't a golfer usually have a caddy beside him? Aren't they usually talking about what to do anyways?
Exactly. Well, and once you get in the college and the pro levels, then you get a caddy. But high school guys, it's all by themselves.
So they don't have the caddy with them either, so they can't go to the coach and say, what do you think? So,
no, they got to carry their own bags and make their own decisions.
Well, what is the role of the caddy? Because to me, I just thought that they just, brought drinks and golf clubs.
No, so that's
supposed to use them differently? I don't know.
I mean, if you play golf, yeah, that's one way that you can use them.
They carry the clubs and they tell the golfer what to use, right?
Exactly. But that's something that, caddies, what the pros use their caddies for a lot of times is distance measurements. So you have a lot of, if you're 138 from the green, pins 4 yards deep on the pin, those are some numbers that the caddy is going to give the player, and then the player can, determine what club and what shot to hit from there.
Well, good information and a good discussion. Nico Hohman, real estate agent with Next Home Discovery, soon to open his own brokerage, and again, specializing in new home sales. So, Nico, thanks so much for being in studio today.
Thank you.
And again, to learn more about him at hohmanhomes.com or give him a call, 813-638-4971. Coming back from the break, we'll have Ken Wrede, creator of EndgameLeadership.com, on That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.
Hi, I'm Kelly Ham from Bill Meyer Ham Consulting. Did you know that one of the biggest challenges that leaders face is getting their employees to be engaged, motivated, and producing amazing business results? At Bill Meyer Ham Consulting, We'll help you transform your workforce culture from one that might be underperforming, maybe mediocre, to achieving amazing business results. You see, we realize that your workforce culture is equally as important as your business plan and your business strategy. The two must be aligned in order for you to reach your desired business and financial goals.
Carol,
hey, Jim.
I just got this plan that could really help with our process here.
Okay, why don't you just have a seat and let's go over it.
Let us help you transform your workforce culture by leveraging your most important assets, your people. I want to know what's going on in your organization. Let us help you transform your workforce culture. Let's have a conversation.
I feel guilty that I can't always be there when Mom feels stuck at home. She was always there for us. But now she can't get out, and I'm not always available to take her places. Someone else needs to help her get around. Then I learned about Home Instead. Now Mom can do what she enjoys because her personal caregiver is there, and I can just be a daughter again.
Are you struggling to care for your loved one? We can help. Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
Traffic problems, call the injury firm of Abrahamson Udrich. Hillsborough traffic tip line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Papa Lock.
It took you 6 months to find the perfect house, and now you're finally moving in. But there's no telling who else has a key. So you call a name you trust. Papa Lock.
Call the locksmiths at Papa Lock. We'll make sure your home is safe and secure.
1250 winds, weather center forecast, 60% chance of showers and storms throughout the day. See partly cloudy skies, 90 for the high, mid-upper 70s for the low. Forecast tomorrow, upper 80s for Friday's high. A bit more cloudy, keeping that rain chance the same. And through the weekend, rain chance holding at 60%, upper 80s as well. Impact Radio 1250 winds, WHNZ.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And welcome back to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 here on Tampa Bay's 1250 Wins WHNZ. And we also make the show available all across social media. Be sure to find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube, in addition to on demand at TampaBayRadio.com. Time to bring in my next guest for the program. I have Ken Wrede, author and creator of EndGameLeadership.com. So, Ken, welcome to the program today.
Thanks very much, Jamie.
So, tell us a little bit about your background, and we'll get into the 6 rabbit holes of leadership.
Okay, great. It's unusual for me because I've been overseas for 27 years. So I'm just coming back into the area and getting to know my own culture again. And it's just a relief not to have to learn a second language or a third language.
And you're also military on top of that.
That's correct, yeah. I was
and so thank you for the service to the country.
Thanks very
yes.
much. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's something I have to get used to since I got back, because nobody said that to me for the last 30 years.
They don't thank you overseas, I guess.
Well, I'm just that American guy.
I understand.
I'm a foreigner there. And
thanks for serving that other country.
Right.
Understood. Go ahead, your background.
So, as you said, I was in the military, so I was an Army guy back in the 80s. And so that was kind of my first step into leadership. Actually, even further back, my first leadership class was when I was in ROTC at Mississippi State back in 1977. So that was my first experience as leadership. And then the 8 years of service, and then my first civilian job was overseas. And that was with a large European telecom company, Alcatel. And after that, just by accident, I became an entrepreneur. And I was involved with the startup telecom company in the Netherlands. And that company eventually went for an IPO in New York. But by then, I had started a second telecom company in Barcelona, Spain. And so in total, I was involved personally with 4 startup businesses in Europe as an emerging market. They were breaking up like AT&T broke up in the 80s. That's what happened in Europe. Mm-hmm. And so that was a great experience. Then my company in Spain got bought by an Italian company, but I didn't want to move my family to Italy because they'd just gotten to Spain. So I started an incubator in Barcelona, which was a great experience because now I'm getting bombarded by different business concepts and having these amazing people who were trying to duplicate the successes in the U.S. Long story short, the internet market blew up. So there was never going to be any investors in European businesses, so we just closed the business down because without that kind of U.S. investors coming in, there was just no chance for the projects to go forward.
And so you're back in the States now. Are you? Is it safe to say you're a leadership coach, consultant? Tell me a little bit about how your services are offered back to the general public. First off,
I would have to say that probably more of a consultant.
Okay.
Seminars and workshops.
Okay, and you've written the book, 6 Rabbit Holes of Leadership.
That's
right?
correct, yes.
All right. And first off, availability, as we talk about the book, where can this be found?
It can be found on Amazon right now. It's a Kindle book, and pretty soon there'll be a physical copy available also through Amazon.
Okay, so tell me, what was your path from follower to leader?
Well, again, I started off, I think when you start off in the military, the expectation, especially as an officer, is you're going to be a leader. And so you start off with a very formalized training through ROTC or the officer training program that they have as an enlisted officer. But I think like everybody, you kind of slide into it. And what I've learned over the last 35 years is even though you're a leader, you never stop being a follower. Because the experience I had every time I got promoted, every time I started a new business, is that nobody worked for me, I worked for them. And so you had to take advantage of that relationship building with your employees to know that they could trust you, and you'd be working in their interest and the company's interest and not your own.
It reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, you must first learn to follow before you can lead.
Absolutely. It's
very
true.
Very true.
Absolutely.
Very true. And a lot of young people have a hard time understanding that, but it's very true. You got to learn how to follow before you can lead.
That's very true. And you know, that was also part of the reason of the book, to be honest. And a lot of people start off with a perception of leadership they have from television or movies. And so their example might be a Patton or Captain Kirk or Star Trek, you know, things that are not reasonable because...
Or Professor Stein from Legends of Tomorrow, otherwise known as Olin Soul.
Who's that?
I think I nailed that one, man.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's his lookalike.
But
you got to
know,
watch the live stream to see.
He's wearing my old Army glasses, though, that we called those tactical eye devices.
Look at this.
So,
I mean, that's perfect. It's like the best.
What was that
yet.
guy's name and where was he?
Olin Soul. He's he plays Professor Stein on the show Legends of Tomorrow, which is a superhero show, and he actually started out on The Flash.
Firestorm.
Yep. He combines with a young high school student to become Firestorm.
Gotcha. So what do you mean by rabbit holes? The 6 rabbit holes of leadership. Again, the title of your book. What do you mean by rabbit holes?
Well, the rabbit holes are the way people kind of destroy their leadership development. And there's two ways. One I call the cat video effect, where you get on the internet and you just watch cat videos and waste your time.
It's never happened to me.
Me either, of course. I've just heard about it from other people. But as they do that, they lose that. They don't go forward. They see it and they pay attention to it, but they do no progress in their own leadership development. Mm-hmm. And the second one is when they start looking at what I call, they take examples that don't make sense. Again, that Captain Kirk thing, you punch every alien in the face that you meet and you get the girl, which is great, I guess, but it's not going to be leadership development. Mm-hmm. And so I try to suggest ways to recognize these things through the rabbit holes and then actually give tips in the book of how to avoid them.
So what led you to write the book, 6 Rabbit Holes of Leadership?
Well, you know what? It's really 2 things. One thing is I hate bullies, and I always have. And I don't think going to work should be like going to junior high. And why would you go to a job where the boss treats you badly or the environment is toxic? And I see this happening over and over and over. And the experience from that I had was it happens throughout all industries. I had it in the military. I had it in civilian life, large companies, small companies. And it's people who take a bad example of leadership and make it theirs.
Right.
The other thing is I hate waste. If I look at the statistics, here in Tampa there's about 200,000 businesses. And statistically speaking, a quarter of those businesses will go out of business in the next 5 years because of leadership issues, specifically leadership issues. I'm not talking about the market, the economy, changes in local regulations. It's specifically leadership issues.
Now, you refer to endgame leadership. What does that mean? And that's also your website, endgameleadership.com.
Yeah, that's correct. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that since I started looking at the 25% of leadership problems and businesses businesses failing, then let's look at those as the end game part. Why do they fail? And if you look at the studies, you can see the 5 or 6 reasons why businesses fail because of leadership. So let's go backward and address those behaviors or the toxic environments that people create, and let's address that as the end game.
What's one of the traits then in a leader that's destined to fail? Would you say? You mentioned the cat videos for one thing.
Sure. Well, I think first off, the cat video is good because if you have that absentee leader who doesn't give any guidance to the people, and then he's upset when they don't know what's going on or they perform badly. A more proactive one on the other side is that toxic boss who people hate coming to work for. And then if the business doesn't go specifically out of business, statistically what you see is that the businesses have a net margin loss of 3 to 5%. So they're actually losing customers, they're losing sales, they're losing employees because of high turnover, and those create a loss in the business value.
Now, leadership applies to people at all levels of an organization, from the owners to the people under them, the employees and the staff. How does leadership first apply to the small business owners?
Well, I think that first off, as you said, if they don't have a vision for the business and they can't convey it to their employees, that's why it's important. But one of the aspects of leadership is that there's a confusion in terms of how people define leadership. And what I suggest to the small business owners is that you can't use the blanket leadership term for everything you do. So my suggestion to the small business leader is to break it up into supervision, which is how you supervise and double check people. The second part is management, where you're managing your resources in terms of time or raw materials. But then the leadership part is managing the culture of your business, because that's when people will want to stay or people will want to buy from your company.
So how does leadership then apply to someone who may not work on a team?
Well, first off, I think the important thing, the more you know about leadership, that you'll know that when it's bad, and you can identify that and perhaps call people on it, which I think is important. The other thing that's important about people who are doing these, who are not on a team, is that they have to sometimes choose not to be leader. Leadership is voluntary, true leadership. Mm-hmm. And if you choose not to do that, that's a valid choice. And I support that because you know it's not something you want to do. So you're not going to lead effectively. So take that pathway that makes you a subject matter expert or perhaps makes you a staff member.
How many people are naturally drawn to leadership? I've always been drawn to leadership. No matter what I do, I always find myself somehow trying to get into some leadership position, even going all the way back to, my first jobs and stuff. I wanted to be somehow in control of something. Sure. Is that natural, or does that, is that a large percentage of people that have that?
Well, I think it's actually a personality trait. One is related to perhaps ambition. And some people are just naturally gregarious, which actually leads to a good leadership culture that you want to develop. And those are the ones who I would trust more than sheer ambition, because the ambitious people worry about themselves.
Yeah, I don't know how not to try to be a leader. It's everything I've ever done. It's like I've tried to get in control or something, and I see others who are just not driven, and I have a hard time understanding that. I use that against them sometimes. I was like, well, you should want to do that because that will put you in a position of leadership. And I don't care.
Yeah, but see, again, that's important. That if they understand they don't want to do it, that's good too. But what happens in a lot of companies is that the only way to progress in the company is to have a leadership position. And so my suggestion then to CEOs or HR people is to make sure there's a separate career path for people who don't want to be leaders. So, for example, in the military and the Army specifically, we have warrant officers. And warrant officers are not NCOs, they're not officers. They're subject matter experts. They may be pilots, supply people, maybe something to do with armament, but that's all they do.
So what's the single most significant challenge then of being a leader?
Well, I think the single most difficult one is, I mentioned that earlier, is determining whether or not you want to be a leader, and making sure that you recognize it's voluntary, but then it's that commitment to being the leader. And the commitment from there is not just to the company, but to the group as a whole, all the stakeholders, the employees, the shareholders, everybody.
So when you work with clients, tell me about your process. And do you have a certain niche business owner that you work with, maybe a small business, a mid-sized, large corporation? Tell me about how you work with your clients.
Yeah, the important thing for me, first off, is in terms of segmentation, leadership, this book that I have right now probably applies more to small business leaders or actually a first-time leader. And it gives them the opportunity to perhaps cut down their own development by years and get them to a position where they can become effective. That's what I'm looking for there.
Okay.
If you're an HR person or a CEO who wants to mentor, then this is the kind of product that can be used for developing leadership for the other people.
Okay. Now, but do you go inside the organizations as a consultant, though? And I'm trying to figure out, like, who is your ideal client out there for people that are listening, and how can you help them?
Sure. Well, I think if looking at HR, who's doing development, that will have the largest impact. And then setting up seminars and work classes to lay out the end-game leadership model.
Okay.
And then apply that to the business.
Okay, so you're probably best suited for mid to higher level organizations versus maybe the small 1 to 5s, because obviously small 1 to 5s aren't going to have an HR department. Am I correct in that assessment? Yeah. Perfect. All right, you can learn more about him at endgameleadership.com. Again, talking to Ken Wrede. He is the author of The 6 Rabbit Holes of Leadership, available on Amazon or I should say Amazon Kindle, which is a Kindle book. I think that's how that works, right?
That's correct, yes.
I am still a blossoming author myself, so I haven't got my books finished yet, so I don't quite know the process of how all that stuff comes together. I know how to buy them in stores, though. So you're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.
Who doesn't have a smartphone these days? And of course, there's an app for everything. Well, almost everything. That's why the folks at Popcorn Apps started developing mobile applications. They saw people like you with genius ideas, unable to make those thoughts a reality. They develop applications for tens of thousands of dollars less than you'll find anywhere else, and will turn your idea into a reality in a matter of just a few months. Think you're not ready? Think again. They are your one-stop shop for mobile application development. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today. What's up, business rock stars? Are you ready to bring out the CEO in you? Join Julianne Nichols, CEO of Focus on You Strategy, every other Friday on That Business Show. She'll be talking with other chief entrepreneurial officers about how they grew their businesses. Remember, you could join the conversation at Focus on You Strategies Focus Fridays Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. That's facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. Be the CEO of you. Did you know the biggest challenge business leaders face today is creating an engaged and productive workforce culture? Bill Meyer Ham Consulting wants to help you solve this challenge. They will help you transform your workforce culture to produce amazing business results. Call Bill Meyer Ham Consulting at 941-201-4650 today, or visit BillMeyerHam.com. That's BillMeyerHam.com. Have a conversation.
Teresa Turner is a certified public accountant and the founder of Tax Happens, a boutique-style CPA firm providing small businesses and individuals with hands-on, personalized tax and accounting services. Although we would love to tell you how happy their clients are, we would like you to see for yourself. Tax Happens has 21 Google reviews and a 4.8-star Google rating, 17 Yelp reviews and a 5-star Yelp rating, 38 Facebook reviews and a 4.9-star Facebook rating. What sets Tax Happens apart is number 1, upfront pricing, 2, clear deadlines, 3, personally available year-round, and number 4, a willingness to empower clients to do as much or as little as they desire. Visit taxhappens.com for more information.
Savvy business owners utilize technology to connect with customers, communicate among teams, and collaborate with partners. Even with advances in technology, you all know it's not infallible. Where do you turn when your technology starts working against you? Who do you depend on to keep your team productive? Don't wait until your technology fails you. Get ahead of the crisis and contact the professionals at Alpha Computing Solutions so they can show you how to keep your technology running smoothly. Visit them online at www.alphacomputing.com.
I knew Mom wanted to stay at home. It's the center of her family, her life. But helping Mom stay in her home while managing mine was just too much. Honestly, it wasn't just about me. Mom didn't want me to be her caretaker. She wanted me to be her daughter. I felt so alone until I found out about Home Instead Senior Care. When we met the people at Home Instead, we just knew they were different. The experience was personal. And most importantly, for Mom and me, I get to be her daughter again.
Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
At Vein 911, we will help you feel great again. Do you have restless legs, night leg cramps, or ankle swelling? Restless legs, cramping, swelling, and tired heavy legs are often symptoms of hidden vein disease. You do not have to have visible bulging veins to have the symptoms of vein disease. The vein care specialists at Vein 911 are uniquely qualified to evaluate and treat your veins. Are you unhappy with your previous vein treatment? Vein 911 succeeds where others fail. Call Vein 911 today at 855-VEIN-911. That's 855-834-6911 to book your free consultation. Vein 911. We will help you feel great again.
From the Bright House Networks Traffic Center.
Crashing Countryside on westbound State Road 580 at McMullen Booth. Also southbound 49th Street at 140th. Crash there. Northbound 275 slow off to Howard Franklin Bridge. Southbound 275 though, big delays from the downtown Tampa junction to Dale Mabry. Couple lanes blocked here. In fact, westbound I-4 now jammed from just past I-75 into downtown Tampa. Southbound Veterans Expressway from Ehrlich to around Waters. See traffic problems. Call the injury firm of Abrahamson Urich. Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Lead Safe America. Does your child struggle to concentrate and pay attention? What looks like ADD or autism may actually be caused by lead poisoning. Lead is a neurotoxin. It can cause permanent brain damage. Find out how to protect your family. Go to leadsafeamerica.org.
Today, coastal showers in the morning, then a 50% chance of afternoon storms, high 90. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 78. Tomorrow, a 50-50 rain chance, high 89.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Reminder of the show in partnership with the Tampa Bay business owners. So if you're a business owner out there in the community, we'd like to invite you into the membership. Best way to do that, head over to tbbo.org and fill out the Join Us button on the homepage there. We'll sit down with you and explain to you the benefits and the reasoning behind joining the Tampa Bay business owners. And you also get to be on the radio show. We got big plans for the radio show coming up, so definitely want to stay tuned for that and how it relates to the Tampa Bay business owners. So if you've been listening to me for a while and even you have a business, you got to get on the show. It also benefits you because I make a lot of key connections with people. And if you come in here and you sit down and you interview with me, I really know what you do and who I can connect you with. It's actually a benefit that I've added into the Tampa Bay business owners membership benefits called Key Connections, where I make my schedule available to sit down with the members one-on-one. Tell me who you need to tell me a little bit about your business, some challenges that you're having, and let me see who I can connect you with. And I immediately start thinking of all the different guests that I've had on my program. And yesterday I had about 4 or 5 meetings. Each one of them resulted in a very good key connection for the member, and it all derives from right here in the studio. So definitely want to get involved with the show and the Tampa Bay business owners to really help diversify and grow and expand your business. Currently in studio with one of our newest members, as a matter of fact, Ken Wrede, author and creator of EndgameLeadership.com. Again, learn more about him at that website, EndgameLeadership.com. So Ken, tell me, we're talking a lot about leadership here, and your book, 6 Rabbit Holes of Leadership, of course, focuses on this topic. How does one recover from mistakes as a leader?
Yeah, it's leadership is a long game. And I think that the way people can recover from mistakes, depending on what the mistake is that if you have a relationship with the people who work for you, they will be more forgiving to you. And I think it's the problem that a lot of people have is that they're in this transactional relationship with their employees where I pay the guy $20 an hour and he does $20 an hour worth of work, and then that's the end of the relationship. So the only mistake you can make is messing up the guy's paycheck, so it's not really much in the way of leadership.
Right.
But that long term is, hey, can you work late? Can you work overtime for me? Can you come in on the weekend? And maybe that's a mistake that you made because you didn't plan properly, and then the guy will have a relationship with you and say, okay, fine, I'll do that. But when you start getting to more critical errors, the important thing is to own it, and own it publicly.
Own it publicly. What do you mean? Just come out in front of the organization and say, hey, I messed up here.
It depends. If it's an organizational problem, yes. If it's to an employee, it's that personal apology, saying I made a mistake, I'll make it good. And then what's even better than that is they will tell their friends about it. The obligation I ever had when I had to punish somebody is it would be between them and me. I never, ever would make it public to the group. And so what would happen then is if they got treated poorly from me, that would become part of the gossip in the office. But if they got treated fairly by me, that becomes part of the gossip in the office.
And
now,
it's hard for a lot of leaders, though, to apologize. I mean, that's just part of that type A dominant personality that so many leaders have.
Well, it's good that you make that point, because I actually have a chapter in the book that talks about leadership style. And what happens is people anchor their leadership style to their perceived personality. And what what the science shows and academia shows is that your leadership style is not based on your personality. It should be based on the circumstances. So if you're going to be authoritarian or you're going to be very coercive in how you deal with people, during a crisis, that's appropriate. It's very appropriate. If it's during your daily operations, you'll actually drive your employees away, and then you'll have high employee turnover, which I don't think is the purpose of what you want to have in your business.
Now, do bad leaders know they're bad leaders? And if they don't know that, how would they find out?
First off, no, they usually don't. And a lot of that has to do with a certain amount of humility and also a certain amount of fear. And when I say fear, I mean insecurity from the leader. So what will happen is that the people they surround themselves with will be people who will always say yes to them and will never point out mistakes or potential mistakes. And so you have this situation where you never know things are bad because you think it's good. And no matter how you act, you can be tyrannical, you can be, again, pushing everybody every day, and they just don't know it. And it's when you can take a step back and use critical thinking. I use a term called metacognition, which is thinking about thinking and then including yourself in that and saying, how am I performing and what's happening?
A good discussion here on leadership with Ken Wrede, again, author of 6 Rabbit Holes of Leadership, which is available on Amazon, Kindle, and also you can learn more about him over at endgameleadership.com. So, Ken, good discussion. Thank you so much for being in studio today.
Thank you, Jamie.
Also, thank you to my guest there in the 7 o'clock, or I should say in the 8 o'clock segment there, Nico Hohman, real estate agent with Next Home Discovery. Again, learn more about him over at hohmanhomes.com. I'll be out of here until Tuesday. Again, headed down to Puerto Rico to help with the filming of the Messengers, the podcasting film that Chris Kermitzos is having commissioned alongside Neil Galarte and Wild Style Media. So looking forward to a short little working vacation. And so Julianne Nichols will be in here for the next 2 days. She is the CEO of Focus on You Strategy, bringing out the CEO in you. And she does a great job in here. And she'll have some amazing guests and a lot of great information. And, of course, she'll be alongside the very trustworthy Josh Voss over there. And do you have a lookalike for Julianne ready?
No, I never really gave it any thought.
Surprise her with it tomorrow. Well, you've been listening to That Business Show. Jamie Mullen, your business becomes show business.